Hi there, some sports fans. It's Morgan again. Final edition, episode 5, Bargain Bowl 12 preview. So, today, or in this episode, we are going to talk about the last three races on our card for the Bargain Bowl. Bargain Bowl 12 in Arizona, December 3rd, here, 2016. It's on Saturday. Even if you don't have runners running, check it out. It's a fun day, it's a lot of races. Uh, it's a fun series to get into. You can be a part of this. It's open to anyone in the sim that wants to take on the challenge of breeding these cheaply bred runners and getting them to run amazing speed figures based on their pedigree, anyway. So in this episode, let's get to it here. We're going to talk about the Bargain Classic, a mile and 3/16ths on the dirt. We're going to go to the Cougar Bike Classic, 10 furlongs on the turf, and the Cemetary Winter Distaff for fillies and mares going a mile and an eighth, 9 furlongs on the dirt here. Let's talk about that race first, the Cemetary Winter Distaff. Many of you that have been around a long time probably remember Winterheart. She was a part of the series in the early going. She helped us out. And this race is named after one of her favorite runners. It wasn't a bargain, but it was one of her favorite runners. So we honor that runner with the name of the Bargain Distaff here at our Bargain Bowl event. It's interesting to note no horses over 8-1 have ever won this race. So the morning line better like you. If the morning line does not like you, you might not have much of a chance at winning here, although there's a first time for everything. Slave to Tradition was a great bargain runner. Another one of those runners that really, makes this series so much fun. It's not even my runner, and you love watching these kind of horses win. She beat boys. She went short. She went long. Anyway, she won back-to-back Cemetery Winter Distaffs in 2009 and 2010. She just fell short in 2011 for her bid for 3 in a row. She finished second that year. So 3 strong finishes in this race over 3 years of her career. Now, another interesting note about the race is there's one-hit wonders do not win this race. Perhaps the first couple of winners of the race, you might say, weren't dominating, but ever since then, if you're a mare that you do well on the dirt, you're probably going to win this race. Or if you win this race, you're going to win lots of other races. It's just a who's who of the fillies and mares that have just won this over the last 7-8 years, and slave tradition really got that started. Misallocation has won this race. Sullivan's Rainbow has won this race. So it's really, we've had some good competition, really good mares winning this race. So lots of stuff to watch here. This series, the fastest Cemetery Winter Distaff was Slave to Tradition, and this was back in 2009. She earned a 102 speed figure, beating the 6-year-old Cuvee Power there. And so that's what these girls are shooting for, and they might have a chance at it this year. This division gets started with the Death Valley Distaff in Mexico, and Naja Vu won this race last year as a 3-year-old, and she started this year off pretty well with a 108 speed figure, taking down the Crioso by 2.5 lengths. You've seen that horse's name a few times. She races in many divisions. It's pretty exciting. Gomo's a solid third. Don't lose sight of that one, because later on she does something pretty special here. Stay in This World was there for fourth. This was a pretty big field for these fillies and mares. Again, Naja Vu comes out on top. Then we go to the Bargain Summer Distaff. So now we're in August. This race is at a mile and a 16th, and Naja Vu does it again. Earns a 111 speed figure this time around. She wins by 3.25 lengths. So the first 2 races in this division, she's really kind of dominated. Fort Worth comes on down to get second, and Light in the Flesh third. Gomo's hanging around there again, fourth, going into this. Now, after this race and before the next race on our series, it's kind of notable that Naja Vu went in a grade 1 and placed. That graded placed badge that she earned is in a grade 1. She was third in that grade 1. Of course, that might have taken something out of her, because as we come to the Slave to Tradition race in October, Gomo turns the tables. 6 back, stalks, pounces, runs a big 110 speed figure. beating the favorite Najavu, who might have been a little tired coming out of the grade 1. Who knows? Fort War was there for third. Capote's Crime closed down to be a distant fourth there. So as we start to look at our division standings here, Najavu's got a 10-point lead, but that's not insurmountable. If she doesn't do well, she's pretty much got to run third, I think, to kind of lock things up. But if she doesn't, that's going to leave that door wide open, and Gomo is going strong here late in the year, and that's nice to see. Fort War has been doing pretty well in the division, but ultimately it's Najavu's to lose this year. Let's move on now, and we'll take a look at the Cougar Bite Classic. Now, again, back when I started and I was asking around on the message board about bargains that did really well, this was another one that got brought up. This is Cougar Bite, a grade 1 winner, a dual grade 1 winner actually, and this is just a couple of his top races, earned over $1 million, and that is a bargain bred pedigree, really nice runner. So we honor Cougar Bite here with the Cougar Bite Classic. Now, in the beginning of the series, instead of having a 1.5 mile turf race, to make sure that we would have decent-sized fields, the distance was set for our turf classic at 10 furlongs instead of 12. So the Bargain Bowl here will have a 12 furlong, a 10 furlong, and an 8 furlong turf race, even though the real Breeders' Cup doesn't and the Breeders' Bowl doesn't. But over in the Bargain Bowl, that's just the way it worked out for us. So we've got a lot of turf races here for these guys to run in. The fastest Cougar Bite Classic was last year, and that was Go For All of It. And he beat World of Drownings, who we looked at in the previous episode, who's in the long turf division, just dominating right now. But Go For All of It took a huge lead into the stretch, made it stand up, earned a 107 speed figure last year, and he won this race with the best, setting the new track record when he won last year. Now in this division, things get started in May with the Hunt Turf Cup, and it was Midnight Bells, a pretty solid colt in his own right, that closed from way downtown to catch Parquet Forrestal there. And Hirokin, the mare, also ran in the Hunt Turf Cup, ran a solid third here. So Midnight Bells gets the win, so he gets the jump on everybody in the series. And later on in August, in the 10 Lost Pyramids, Midnight Bells does it again. He's closes again from way downtown. This time he's facing Go For All of It, and he just gets Go For All of It at the wire. Both of them earn 107 speed figures. The mare, Sea Levels High, ran a really solid third here against the boys in the 10 Lost Pyramids. And then the Pearl Cup rounds out the division prior to the Bargain Bowl anyway. And Barely 2 took advantage of some not so great running, I guess. Based on Go For All of Its runs recently, this run was not a great run, but he only lost by 3/4 of a length. The speed figures are down from what they had to be, and Barely 2 took advantage of that, got the stakes win here. Cardinal Samurai in for third. So that sets up a really interesting middle turf division championship here, with Midnight Bells taking the first 2 runnings, has 20 points in the division. Go For All of It got a couple of seconds in there. He's within striking distance, just 7 points back, and Barely 2 has 10 points here in the division. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention about this middle turf division is, it's 10 Lost Pyramids. We named one of the races for him here, but he is another one of those cornerstones of the Bargain Bred Racing Series. He won the 2007 and 2008 runnings of this race. He was a back-to-back winner there. He would come back in 2009 and finish second. He would come back in 2010 and finish third. Placing in this race in 4 straight years, just super impressive. He won lots of other races in the series. What an outstanding runner. Really loved watching 10 Pyramids run. Brilliant Notation is a previous winner. He's won this race twice, but he did it a little differently. He won in 2010, and then he won in 2012. So he missed out in 2011. which was it's kind of interesting for a horse to do that. He's the only runner that's done that here. And it's also interesting to note in the very first running of the Cougar Bite Classic, it was won by a runner by the name of Pepe's Pipes. And Pepe's Pipes would turn that bargain bowl victory in the Cougar Bite Classic into a stepping stone into a Grade 1 win. He would win a Grade 1 in his very next start. So really interesting. This is another race that does not like long shots. The longest shot to ever win the Middle Turf division here in the Cougar Bite Classic is 6-1. So you want to be 5-1 or less, I think, on the morning line. Otherwise, you might not have much of a shot. Favorites do really well in this race. Let's move on now. Let's talk about the Bargain Bowl Classic. And Hustlin' Hoosier won the first 2 years of this race. That's 2005 and 2006. Spare Key was another runner that went back-to-back. He went back-to-back in 2008 and 2009. Favorites and long shots have been pretty equal. A lot of years, some years will have a favorite. Next year you have a 10-1. Our longest shot to win this race was Amber Net, who did it at 41-1. Pretty incredible to win the Bargain Classic 41-1. Really, so it's been a really interesting race. For the colts, unlike the fillies and mares tend to hold their form longer, it seems like, in this series. So we have a couple of back-to-back winners and their Distaff. But the dirt colts haven't seemed to do that very much. Although Hustle, Hoosier, and Spare Key have done it, no one's really come real close to winning back-to-back editions of the Bargain Bowl Classic. Our fastest classic on record was Spare Key's win in 2008. That's his second victory. He earned a big 107 speed figure, just dominating the field that year, beating some pretty good runners there. The first race in the Classic Dirt Division is the Death Valley Classic in April, and Red Finger, who's more of a miler, but this being a mile and a 16th, was really right up his alley. He ran huge, a 112 speed figure. Open to Alumni won the 2015 Bargain Classic, so he's set to come back and defend his title, and he ran a big speed figure too there, 110, just losing by a length. Falling Pins ran third here, second Wine, good runner as well, ran fourth. As we move to the Summer Classic, this one we move out a little more now. Now we're out at a mile and an eighth, 9 furlongs, and Open to Alumni just set the pace, made them pay because nobody really went with him. Although if they would have, he probably would have run them off their feet with that 46 half mile and that 110.6 furlong mark. He was running really well, earned that 108 speed figure. That extra half furlong's probably why he held on from Red Finger. Red Finger at 9 furlongs might be at the limit of his distance, at least at the stakes level here, but he ran a really nice second. 3-year-old, and forgive me, Plano here, but Lasse Tomber is how I'm going to go with the pronunciation of that. Ran a really solid third. Bottom end out of the Texas bred barn. That's my barn. Ran a pretty solid fourth for a 3-year-old here going against older. Now the older runners in October take each other on in the Copper Cup. In this one we move out to 10 furlongs. So we're now moving out to a mile and a quarter. And Sandal Keep, who hadn't placed in any of the other races, kind of coming out of nowhere here, closing from 15 lengths back, catches Loud Colors, our Bargain Derby winner, by 2.25 lengths at the wire. Hear Me Out, another 3-year-old in there getting third. So now our 3-year-olds are starting to mix it up again. Lasse Tomber, they're fifth in this particular race. So the youngers catching up with the older here. So that should make for a really interesting divisional finale here in the Bargain Classic. This group is tight. Open to Alumni is tied with Red Finger with 16 points in the division, but Red Finger is going to go in the dirt mile. But Sandal Keep, Loud Colors, Lasse Tomber, they're all going to come here and try to take on Open to Alumni. There's going to be others that aren't necessarily on this leaderboard that are going to be making a play here in the Bargain Classic as well. This is set to be another really nice race, a great way to end the day, so to speak, in the Bargain Classic. Well, that concludes our look at all the Bargain Bowl races here. Did it in 5 episodes. Again, anyone who's interested, check us out at bargainbread.com. We'll have a few races here in the winter. There'll probably be a race day here around Christmas time. We usually have what's called the Bargain Exchange, where we run some claiming races. And we'll run them in January. We'll run in February. And the season really gets kicked off right in the 1st of March there with our Bargy Day. That's when we're going to announce our year-end awards that are based on these classic or these divisions that we've been going through here as I've been talking about the races here at the Bargain Bowl. Again, it's just a ton of fun. Trying to get a good runner from a cheaply bred pedigree is difficult. You gotta really commit to breeding these guys. You can't just breed one and get lucky, I don't think. You might, but I think that's a little difficult to do. I'll probably have some more videos that kind of cover the rules and go through breeding as well. So stay tuned for that. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, but I'll try to post those up on the sim as I make them. I'll post them to the Black Type Bugler there. And until next time, guys, again, check out the races. In addition to these 15 races on Saturday, we carded 22 other races for our series, and most of those are maidens and what we call offspring races. You can read up more about that on our website. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed.